Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Man on the Radio Page coming to you live on YouTube. You know what? This is just some bull. I don't know. We know why this was done. It was done to satisfy the male base, because the fact is they don't think women can headline pay-per-view. And as you know, this was confirmed by Dana White that George Masvidal and Marty Usman are going to have a rematch at UFC 261, and this time they're moving the this show. There was plans. I think one plan was hearing that they would try to do it overseas, so like in not Fight Island, but there was talks of maybe somewhere like in somewhere in Southeast Asia, because the headline originally was going to be Wally Zhang versus Rose Namajunas, and and that was the original headline. And the co-main event of that fight was also Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Andrade. And okay, I was pretty good with that. But then, as you know, Jessica, as you know, Wally is the women's 115 champion, and Rose was a former 115 champion. And there was like a lot of back and forth about how to set the fight. I think most of it was like issue of money, the event, all that other stuff. So then they settled it I think about a couple of weeks ago, and it was going to be the main event for 261. And then the co-main event was going to be Valentina Shevchenko, the Bullet, versus Jessica Andrade. And I was kind of okay. I was good with that. I was good with that. But then you know what happened? This fruity fecal matter fruitcake Lex Luthor. He makes me. We all know Dana White does not like women's division. Period. The only one he liked was Ronda Rousey, because Ronda made a lot of money. She was very popular, and but he don't. I don't think he don't like any other women. He don't, and he give a chance for these four women to headline. For Rose and Wally to the main event, for Valentina and Jessica Andrade to co-main event. So he dig up these two. It's just. I know his name is Jorge, but if you know Spanish, Jorge is translated as George. So George Masvidal versus, as I'm not a big fan of Kobe Covington, but he calls him Marty Usman. But yeah, George versus Marty, and their fight, Masvidal got dominated by Usman, his wrestling and everything. I mean, why we want to see another fight when we know the outcome is going to be? Maybe Masvidal might put up a better fight, but we know we know the outcome of this fight. If you're going to at least bring a second fight, maybe Usman versus Covington, I would accept that, but not this shit show. And really, I think people really want to see a Valentine. I want to see Rose versus Wally. That should stay as the main event, and keep Valentina versus Jessica as the co-main event. But now their fight is like the third biggest fight on the card, the third biggest fight. You number three. We all know what happened with Wally Jean Day. She smoked Jessica Andrade, and the problem is people don't like. Most of the girls in the old when Jessica Andrade was still fighting at 115, most women were more scared of her. And she easily got smoked by Wally Zhang. And then this fight with her last fight when she had a rematch with Rose, Rose won, and that was able her to get a title shot against Wally Zhang, because she had to beat Jessica Andrade to get a title shot. But they do share a point in common, all four of these women, and that is Joanna Bojangles to Jacek. That's a lot to say, I know, but most definitely, Joanna beat Jessica Andrade decisively, but then she loses twice to Rose, and then she faces Valentina Shevchenko, who somebody she lost to 3 times when fighting Muay Thai, and then her fight against Wally Zhang, where there's a debate that Joanna might have won, but then they gave it to Wally because she's the champion, and the only reason why Wally won, because look at Joanna's head. Look, she like Pumpkinhead. I mean, she can't look. I think the judges looked at that damage. How she had she's a walking tumor, and that's why she won, Wally Zhang. But this here, we all know reason why Dana White is doing this. This is this shit show fight. Because the fact is that what I found out is that they're going back to Florida, and that's Jacksonville, Florida, where last year they had quite a lot of fights there because of the fact of the pandemic, and Florida because their governor is a dumbass, was one of the few states that would allow them to have any kind of competitions, and this time they get to have people, an audience. So Dana White feels like, you know what? If I'm gonna have a big pay per view, why do I need these four women to be the main part? Why don't get some guys? Maybe get people to come. Dana White is he's just on some you know what? PG-13 channel, like my man Coach says. And I should have said it earlier, but I know I just let loose a little too far. And the fight is predictable. This is a predictable fight. But the other two fights, it's up in the air. Where to me, the Valentina versus Andrade fight is predictable. Valentina's gonna win. And if I was Valentina Shevchenko, Valentina, she's not much about that. She only she cares about the fight. But I feel like this. I'm a champion, just like the other, like the others. I'm a champion. So why am I third? Why am I not? If I'm not a co-main event or a headliner, what's the point of me being on the card? And just because the fact is that because they have it in Florida, they're gonna try to have a big capacity crowd. And that's why they're doing it. But if I was Valentina, I said, you know what, I either become a co-main event or I be or the main event. I'm not being somebody like three's the crowd. That's some bull crap. And I'm speaking for who's a Bullet. I'm a fan of the Bullet, and that's why I'm speaking from. I'm a fan also of Rose, but I'm a fan of Valentina just a little bit more. I think she should have, said like, what, let's have my fight like maybe around about June. When, if you don't have a great pay-per-view, if you don't have nobody as a great headliner, they should have saved that fight for like June. But we all know this is just some BS that Dana White thinking that women can't sell her, women because like I said, Dana White has prejudice against women. That's all it is. His prejudice against women is why we're giving a crappy second fight with George Masvidal versus Marty Usman. I do like Usman. I like him, but this is just like I said. This is just me speaking as a fan of women MMA, because women MMA don't get much attention compared to the men. The guys give enough attention. The guys get enough time. The women need more time. This would have been a great something. But I think the mentality of it, because ever since I think the Amanda Nunes versus Raquel Pennington fight, I don't think they feel like that women should headline a pay-per-view. And I always had that debate where was a few years ago, as when Amanda Nunes fought Cyborg. This is why I was saying they should have dealt with this. John Jones and Gustafsson, whatever his name is, they could have moved it to L.A. and had that fight because they didn't have I think they was missing a pay-per-view for 233, and instead of just taking Jones and Gustafsson, moving them to L.A. and letting them fight, and instead of letting Cyborg and Nunes be the main event, it's just well, like I said, I'm talking as a pissed off Valentina Shevchenko fan. I think the Bullets got screwed over on this one. I mean, at least if she was gonna be the one of the co-main events, be a co-main event, at least I mean, I don't know. I know some people not going to agree with me or on my daily, but I know some people who will agree with the fact that Valentina Shevchenko should not be the third title fight on the card. She should be at least main event or co-main event. This your man already, George Page. Like, don't like, subscribe, don't subscribe. I'm out.